Companies are now continuously exploring options on how to redesign their logistics and supply chain. But how can they do this effectively to respond to the new normal? A panel of experts will begin the discussion of redesigning the logistics and supply chain, with a 5 to 7 minute presentation about the topic, sharing valuable information, insights, and experiences. An open forum soon comes after. Participants are expected to redesign their logistics and supply chain management operations, review the concepts of quality and productivity, and access available resources and processes for productive outcomes. Track Session 7 is brought to you by PLDT, BPI, Quick Clean Laundry, Potato Corner, Mary Mango, Hotel 101, Mary Mart. Our host for today's session is a television host and radio broadcaster in ABS-CBN, hosting Usapang Kalye in DZMM Teleradyo. She is a Binibining Pilipinas semi-finalist and a journalist. Please welcome back Ms. Tina Marasigan.
Hi friends, good afternoon, and despite this rainy afternoon, we are all in high spirits for the last track of our discussions with the general theme, pivoting towards the golden age of franchising. And joining me to moderate this session, redesigning the logistics and supply, is the Corporate Relationship Management Head for PLDT Enterprise, which powers 133 negosyo centers of the Department of Trade and Industry nationwide, with connectivity and digital services to support MSMEs in this challenging period. She is heading the information technology over the top content and e-commerce group of Enterprise. With over 15 years of telco experience, she also headed other industries such as banking and outsourcing and offshoring industry. Friends, with us today is Ms. Kay Bondoc de la Cruz. Hi, Ms. Kay. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Tina. Thank you very much. I'm so happy to be a part of this conference with you. This afternoon, we have a very interesting discussion. We know that the pandemic has caused significant disruptions that also impacted economic growth, competitiveness, even job creation. And of course, globally, the forced lockdowns and travel restrictions affected the global trade and the supply chain, which has come to almost a standstill. But on the other hand, this has also increased the demand for locally made products and promoted hyperlocalism. So we'll hear from different experts today in the industry, and let's find out how they're adapting to the unprecedented changes in time. Tina.
I am excited to hear the last discussions of the whole track this week, because we are actually searching for opportunities in difficult times. And this is a catalyst for innovations, for new beginnings, right? In the world of trade and industry. That's why we want also to see the participation of our attendees. That's why before we begin, we will have a quick survey. So we will be flashing the pulse survey for our attendees. So we have our question: what do you think is the biggest barrier to redesigning logistics and supply chain? You have 8 options to choose from. First, the access to technology, infrastructure, government policies, varying local government protocols, costs of goods, costs of delivery service or logistics service. It can be availability of supply, or disconnected buying and operation time. So take your pick and participate in the poll. You have a minute to answer. As much as I want to ask you, Ms. Kay, with your response to this question, I will be hearing more insights from you as we go along, or as we move forward to the discussions of our 3 speakers for today. So if I'm going to ask you, what are you excited about to hear from them?
I am very much excited, first of all, with ASEC's presentation later because he's going to bring some interesting insights. And of course, we'll hear from the technology experts, and we have also some partners from the technology development. So there's a lot of interesting things to discuss today.
So there, I think we already collated the votes from our participants. So let me just scroll my screen. There you go. We got cost of delivery service or the logistics service as the barrier or the biggest barrier to redesigning logistics and supply chain. Do you agree with this, Ms. Kay?
I do agree, but although I think we will hear more from our panel of experts, but wait, I lost the results. Okay, there. So the first one is the cost of delivery service and logistics service. So we'll hear later about the logistics challenges. And I'm a bit curious about the government policies not being the first. You didn't hear it from me. Yeah.
So coming in second is the varying local government protocols, which can be a bit confusing in different areas in the country. And yeah, I couldn't agree more, but let's see if that will still reflect later on. So let's move on from to our first speaker, just to see if the details in her discussion can make or tweak changes in the perspective of our attendees. So we will find out more about our topic. We talk to the Assistant Secretary for Agribusiness and Marketing of the Department of Agriculture in August 2019. At the DA, she oversees the department's market linkage activities, promotion of local agricultural products, and the identification of investment opportunities in the agri-fishery sector in tandem with other DA offices, government agencies, and partners from the private sector and local government units. In particular, she has been spearheading the implementation of the Kadiwa Ni Ani at Kita, a program launched by Secretary William D. Dar, designed to ensure that the products of farmers reach consumers without passing through a multi-layered marketing system, giving local food producers and entrepreneurs the opportunity to earn more while ensuring quality, affordable food for consumers. Friends, please welcome Assistant Secretary KRISTINE Evangelista. Applause, please. Hi, ASEC. Good afternoon. You may turn on your mic.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for this invitation. I'm sorry Secretary Dar couldn't join us, but he has equipped me with his wisdom. So hopefully I'll be able to answer. I was very interested in the polls that survey a while ago.
And we are excited about your presentation. I'm sure you have prepared for that. I have a few questions in my head already, but I will be reserving that for later. All right. So here is your slide. First slide, ma'am. May we move on to our discussion?
Yes, please. Okay. So, well, we'd like to give you a glimpse of what the Department of Agriculture has been doing as far as making food accessible, because I think this is part of the whole logistics and supply chain. Next. Okay. This is the framework that we've adopted. This is something that is new to the department under the leadership of Secretary William Dar. If you can see, the word reboot is very important because this also means we are trying to address certain gaps, meaning from the level of policy to the implementation, the grassroots level. We are looking at all these areas. Objectives are very clear, from production and availability, accessibility, affordability, price stability is very important, sustainability, because if something goes wrong in the whole value chain, then we will have a problem as far as food security is concerned. And also we are looking into food safety, which will include making sure that our logistics, our reefer vans, and what have you are in place to make sure that the agri-commodities get to the market fresh, clean, and safe. So moving on, we'd like to show you some of the programs and the initiatives of the department. We've launched this plant program. To other people, it may seem like, just planting, but at the end of the day, it's more than that because it actually addresses productivity and enhancement, because we are encouraging several sectors of our society to go back into agriculture and to plant, whether this will be for their personal consumption or eventually turn into a business. So this also goes into the income enhancement projects of the Department of Agriculture. And we are also heavy on social amelioration because we are, of course, catering to a very targeted audience, which are the marginalized farmers and fisher folks. Aside from that, when it comes to food accessibility and mobility, I hope people felt the presence of the Department of Agriculture, especially during the pandemic, when we launched Kadiwa, wherein we brought the fresh produce of our farmer producers to different barangays all over Metro Manila, since it was Metro Manila that had a lockdown. Aside from that, we have an ISDA on the go. This is a program under one of our attached bureaus, which is the Philippine Fisheries Development Authority. What happens here, if you're interested to know, is that you can apply to have something like a franchise, I think, if that is the correct term, because for 20,000, you get the initial inventory of fish, different kinds of fish, and then the free use of a chiller. Then you can sell it in your community. So this is something we're offering. This is basically for mga SMEs also. Aside from that, again, we have the food lane. This was turned into a food pass during ECQ. It helped our partners, our stakeholders who are in the logistics industry, be able to bring their produce without being hampered by checkpoints, because it was very important that the produce from CAR, from Pampanga, were able to reach Metro Manila. Now, moving on, we have a stimulus package that we are still waiting and praying that it would be approved, because part of the stimulus package includes having a trading post, which is already existing. This is the Benguet Agri-Pinoy trading post. But what is the new ingredient we're putting in is that they will be the buyer of last resort. We have seen several posts in Facebook, social media, and even in mainstream media wherein some of the produce of our farmers ended up being thrown away because they were not brought to the consumers. So putting in funds to make a trading post, also the buyer of last resort, will hopefully address this issue. Next slide would be, okay. Upscaling Kadiwa. I mentioned to you a while ago, Kadiwa ni Ani at Kita. This is our program wherein it's a market linkage, wherein the farmer producers go to different barangays and different areas to sell their produce directly to the market. Aside from consumers, we are looking into institutional buyers again. So basically, Kadiwa ni Ani at Kita is our platform for market linkage. With that, we've added capacitating our farmer producers by giving them reefer vans and also trucks, even crates for that matter. And the idea of pre-positioning is also something that we've looked into, wherein we will have storage facilities. So this will also lengthen the shelf life of the produce of our producer sector. Next slide. Just for everyone to know, we'd like to, the Kadiwa ni Ani at Kita serve 496 barangays, 341 communities. But if you try to simplify it, out of the 17 cities in NCR, we served 16 cities. And every day we brought fresh produce in partnership with the local government. We also had stakeholders and the private sector helping us out, because there were private sector individuals who wanted to buy produce directly from our producers. And then in the end, they ended up selling it to their communities or in their subdivisions. In Metro Manila alone, the sales amounted to 420 million. But if we put together on a nationwide scale, from March to September of this year, the total produce that were sold through the facilitation of Kadiwa is already at 6.5 billion pesos. That's around 130,000 metric tons of fresh produce. Now, aside from that, to strengthen Kadiwa, we've partnered with different government agencies. DTI is also with us, DILG, DOE. They've given us areas in the gasoline stations, of course, observing food safety. The malls also open their doors, wherein I think we are working well with them because it's a good way for our producers to sell because it's in the mall. And at the same time, it also generates foot traffic for our partners in the mall industry. And then aside from that, I'd like to show you the things that we are looking into to address certain issues as far as the supply chain is. One is inclusive agribusiness. This is something that we are pushing, making sure that our producers will be performing more roles in the value chain, hopefully with the help of government initiatives as well and policies that we are already discussing with different agencies. There is a move to have an agri-industrial business corridor. This is a more strategic and a long-term program wherein we are identifying areas. Where are the production areas? Who are producing this? How many farmers are there in a certain area? Where are the markets? By having all those information, then we can decide what kind of storage facility, trading posts, even the logistics need to bring their produce to the market is considered, knowing exactly where they are. So this is what we call the agri-industrial business corridors approach. We are looking into areas in BCDA, this is in Clark, and also in FTI. Hopefully, we can also replicate this in all the regions of the country. Now, this is at a glance what agri-industrial corridors are all about. It entails investment opportunities as well because we are also trying to engage more people to get into agriculture. There are different areas of investment as far as agriculture is concerned. It doesn't necessarily mean only production, but since if you see, there are areas where you have your domestic, you have foreign buyers, you have export opportunities, you have opportunities as far as transportation and logistics are concerned. So this is the whole industrial corridor that is almost similar to a value chain approach as well. And this is the vision and hopefully will soon be a reality. We have found an area in BCDA in partnership, of course, with Secretary Vince Dison's team. And the Department of Agriculture will not only have food markets here, but also a seed plant wherein we would be identifying what are the seeds, what are the produce that is the demand of the market. Why? Because we would like to know and we would like to make sure that our producers produce the right quality and we have enough to be able to make a dent as far as the export world is concerned. Our neighboring countries have, very specific products they're pushing. One country is pushing coffee, another's pushing cacao. And maybe it's about time that the Philippines really focus on a certain commodity that can be planted in several areas and we can be able to supply a bigger amount in the export world as well. And the cold chain, this is very important. I think in the past, this must have taken the back seat. But now that we are looking into prolonging the shelf life of the produce and at the same time putting emphasis on food safety, cold chain is very important. So there's a government initiative and we are also partnering with the private sector because this is also an area wherein investors are looking into. They can be partnered with other private sectors from the logistics side. And now, as far as government is concerned, this is basically to cater to our small stakeholders. And for my last slide, I'd like to quote the Secretary. We will continue our efforts to ensure an adequate supply of affordable and nutritious food and improve our food logistics and transportation systems. This is the commitment of the Department of Agriculture. The Secretary is called the Food Czar, and we are committed to make sure that food is made available and food security is definitely achieved in our country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ASEC, for your presentation. It feels good to know. Thank you for sharing the Kadiwa project. Kasi you mentioned that almost 100% of the cities pala are being reached by this project, and then 496 barangays. That's a lot. And when you mentioned plant, I always hear the plantitos and plantitas going around now in the cities, right? And of course, I think it's very crucial to modernize the country's agricultural sector, especially during these times, if we want to speed up our recovery and, of course, reduce poverty, and most importantly, for inclusive growth and to help our farmers and our fishermen. Thank you, ASEC.
Thank you.
What a fruitful discussion. Now we move on to our next speaker. We will also hear from the Solution Principal Director for APTOS Asia Pacific. He has over 3 decades of experience within the retail planning and merchandising field. Recently, he has been involved in APTOS Rice within Asia, including Cotton On Group in Australia and Fast Fish and Meters Bonwei in China. Having both an in-house retail background as well as technology supplier experience places him at the top of his field, and his expertise is second to none. We have with us is Mr. David SHEEKEY. Hi, sir.
You're on mute, David.
Hi, Sir David. You may open your mic now. All right. I think he is preparing his slides.
Now, can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
There you go. Loud and clear.
Okay, great. Okay, and can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Okay, so you gave me a great introduction. I guess normally I would be with you, but at the moment we're not traveling, so I haven't left the country since February. So let me introduce the company. So I work for a company called APTOS. Although we're fairly new for the region, like you say, we've started to build a real client base in Asia Pacific, and really within that, Philippines is a real lighthouse for us. Some of our customers, I'll put on the next slide, we've got a sort of global customer base of retailers across the world, which are sort of in the luxury and the fashion and the seasonal goods space, really. And specifically in Philippines as well. Sorry. Yeah, specifically in Philippines as well. Sorry, a bit of a delay. We have now been sort of proud to be working with SM Retail and Golden ABC, and other regional highlights include MCM in Korea. We've got several companies now in China, and really this is just the start. We're really starting to grow in the region. And what I want to talk to you really today about is inventory planning, making decisions. So inventory planning for us is all about decisions that the retailer makes about product. It's really also about the complete life cycle of the product. So really we consider it to be from design and the thought process and the strategy cycle all the way through to the end of life of a product, so the clearance and the markdown. And effectively it's like a project plan. So you can see here the 5 major areas which are true for any retailer. Everyone's having a strategy and a plan. Everyone's designing and working out what they want to put in their shops and in front of their customers in other ways. Everyone's working out a plan to deliver the goods to the customer, and then a plan to sell it and keep it in the inventory in stock and to review and clear it. That's true of all retailers. And essentially it's a simple process that we can break down. We also note that it's really can be chaotic, because as well as this simple plan, you're also doing it 3 times. So you're doing this season, you're doing next season, and you're doing the season after in all different parts of this plan. We also note that there's lots of decisions within that. So although that's a simple plan, there's a huge amount of sort of transactional decisions that are made under that. So what could you sell? Where could you sell it? How much should we buy? These are sort of highlights of all the sort of hundreds of different decisions that are being made all the time in retail. So it's chaotic, it's dynamic, and it can be a confusing place to be in a sort of a dynamic sort of buying office, trying to get everything right. We also recognize that it's not just a planner. It's not just a single person sitting there making all these decisions. There's lots of people within a retail organization that are involved in the inventory planning process. And you can see those kind of broken down on the left-hand side. So we have executives doing the strategy. We have planners working out the numbers and planning ahead and thinking ahead and making sure the inventory levels are right. We have buyers who are capturing the sort of the ideas of the customers and trying to distill that into a range of goods and connect that to the vendors. We have sort of designers who are building those products and making sure all the components go in to make the item and make it at the right cost. And of course, we have the supply chain and the vendor as well. And we have people who are managing the allocation. And we have the operations team as well, who are counting inventory, putting it on sale, and obviously interacting and selling to the customer. And this is the kind of idea of a project plan. So all these people are working at the same time on this sort of project to deliver and sell goods. What we try and do is we provide solutions across the board for this, like the IT helper on the desktop for all these processes, for all these people. And we sort of essentially put it into a platform of software so that decisions can flow seamlessly from one group to another, instead of them being sort of in isolated teams, which is more standard in retail, to be honest. So what we want to do, we haven't got much time, so I wanted to sort of isolate an area and just take a deeper dive into it. And one of the most important areas, and it's really the movement of goods, which is, a hell of a lot of decisions are made before that. But really, when the items have been made and manufactured and they're starting to be shipped to the DCs and the stores, that's when this sort of real supply chain takes over. And that's only part of the process, but it's just what I wanted to highlight. So real inventory has to be allocated, has to be saved for the e-com customers as well, and the omni-channel experience. And it has to arrive in stores. It has to be just enough, just at the right time, and hold some back for replenishment and the digital customer. And also react to the future, react to events and promotions and markdowns in season, and end up with just the right amount ready to clear the decks, ready for the next season. So it's a complicated and just enough business. If you make too much, you're going to lose money. If you make too little, you're going to lose opportunity to sell. So that's really the business that I wanted to sort of deeper dive into. And it's all about allocation. So let's just have a look at it. Essentially, we break it down into 3 tools, really, 3 almost separate things that are sort of mini applications that will work seamlessly together. There's the allocation, which is very much about realizing the buyer's dreams and making sure that the inventory that they've ordered and the goods adjacencies and everything that look beautiful in the shops. So a jacket, a top, and a trouser all arrive together and tell a story to the customer. So allocation is about getting that right and getting it right with the inventory that's was shipped. Maybe not the inventory you bought. There may be some quality problems. You may have opened or closed stores, especially in these times. So you have to react to all the local conditions after you've made the buying decisions and before the goods arrive, hopefully, so it's quick and seamless. And then there's a replenishment solution. This is basically the holdback. So here we use a lot of mathematics. So when we start to sell something, we start to have a pattern of the future. We can work out what the sales are going to be going forward. We can do that mathematically. We can do that by machine. And the idea is the replenishment kicks in and can guide the retailer to making decisions to infill and refill the stores. And to support the replenishment and the allocation solution, we also have a kind of a demand forecast, an automated calculation at sort of SKU and store level, which really drives the future decisions you're making. So it allows the business to lean back and see what the micro level decisions are. And these are millions of calculations done every night to sort of optimize the DC pick list, which is done in the morning to send the inventory through the stores. Specifically, it's really important for the Philippines as well, with your number one being the cost of goods and supply. It's an important decision to make right and get right the first time, because it's difficult to move it around from store to store afterwards. So a really important part of the puzzle, which is why I wanted to highlight it specifically for you guys in the Philippines. So allocation is the initial push, and it's super important for fashion and super important for longer lead times as well, where, you know, potentially up to 80% of the inventory for the season can be allocated in sort of high fashion, higher price markets. And the idea is to get that right and, you know, predict the sales that you're going to make to optimize that allocation and reduce the markdown, reduce the cost of moving the inventory around, and that's the biggest cost you have on your survey. Increase the full price sell-through, delight the customer, let's not forget, and enable that multi-channel, omni-channel demand signals to be taken account of. Basically, to do this poorly and with a lack of flexibility is a costly and very visible mistake, with red mark labels and discounts in the stores, costing at the end of life, after all the good work that's been done. The output of the allocation is a communication of to the picking team and an action and a decision to be made. Effectively, the first one of a real movement of inventory to be made within the organization. The allocation connects the planning organization to the trading organization as well, and that's super important. That the needs of the buyer, the vision of the store and way it's going to look, it comes through. The buying and design and merchandiser teams spend a lot of time considering the future and the perfect assortment for the stores. And often it's the allocation area which is the poor cousin of that, and things get missed out because of the chaos of getting things right, as the DC hits the stock hits the DC and hits the store. So really, it's where the plan becomes a reality. That's the important message. And it's a complicated world now, so it's not just DC to store. You've got all sorts of different channels to think about. You've got to hold stuff back. You've got to think about the omni-channel customer first. You've got to allow top-ups. You've got to allow multi-channel disciplines. And really to try and optimize that supply chain is super important. And, you know, just scratching on the surface of this, but I want you to leave you with the sort of the goals, the reason behind it, because a lot of things it does, but the real reason is to delight the customer, to get just the right amount of inventory, to make them happy without having too much, to predict the future and to react to it, and to unlock the profitability that's in there. And that's a really sort of simple measure of how this type of software can really help retail. Thank you. If you want any more information, I'll leave you with this slide. You can talk to me, or we can talk to DJ, and we'll be happy to sort of expand on this further. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, David. I've heard a lot about decision-making, omni-channel solutions, and of course, the most important is delighting the customer and keeping them happy. But I think it's crucial for all the businesses to know how to make sense of the massive customer data available online now, as of course, it defines customer behavior that could possibly affect the business decisions related to what you've mentioned, like inventory, allocations, forecast, and of course, innovation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, there's so many facets to the customer that are available now. There's a huge amount of data around, and it starts off with the before the goods arrive, right? It's about classifying the stores by type, and editing to amplify is a super important thing to make sure that assortments are right for the local markets. And then there's a huge amount of environmental data as well. That demand forecast is so important. To be able to predict demand, and there's a huge amount of available data now. So we're starting to look at machine learning and artificial intelligence to help and support this. And what's really important is to package that so it's available, because it's an expensive industry on its own.
Right. Thank you. We'll talk more about that later. But if we talk about now about responding to customers' demands, we now rely on some key technology partners who continue to develop apps and platforms to bridge the gap and make the goods and services delivered to customers almost instantly.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. And that's why it's so important to have all the demand signals in the solution. Not just retail POS information, but now you get omni-channel orders. People are ordering and picking up in store, picking up where it's convenient for them. And sometimes picking up in store is not what they wanted to do. So we have to be aware of positive and negative things we want to dial out of the demand calculation as well. So yeah, it's a much more complicated world. To get it right is so important. And we need to be on top of those new practices, those new ways of interacting with the customer through the supply chain.
Right.
And those technologies are all brand new. So there's catching up to do within the supply chain organization to fulfill those customer omni-channel experiences.
Right.
And in connection to that, we will be moving on to our next speaker. He will be talking about the digitizing logistics move in the industry. We have the managing director of LALAMOVE Philippines, the on-demand delivery app known for its iconic orange hummingbird and fast delivery. LALAMOVE makes sure to uphold the quality and exceptional service to complete hundreds of thousands of deliveries, moving the lives of many partner drivers, business clients, and everyday users by moving what matters to them. She is Miss DANNAH MAJAROCON. Hi, Miss DANNAH.
Hello to everyone. Thank you so much for having us here today. I'm very excited to share how LALAMOVE has been able to help and support not just businesses that have drastically needed to pivot during these very difficult times, but also to talk a little bit about how opportunities have been created even for partner drivers. As was mentioned earlier, a lot of people have lost their jobs during this challenging period. So let me go ahead and share my screen right now. All right. Can you guys see it? Okay. So keeping things moving, right? During this pretty challenging period, it's nice for us to keep a certain level of optimism, to look forward to the future, because there are a lot of things that we can still continue to do despite how difficult these times are. So let me start off this presentation by sharing with you a video of one of the businesses that have managed to pivot during this time.
Hi, Pinoy entrepreneurs. I'm L.A. Pabalan of Minimart PH. Together with LALAMOVE, I will share how Minimart has become a successful online store in just a month. Kaya kung gusto niyo matuto how to make this possible for your business too, keep watching. Kung di kayo familiar sa amin, Minimart PH is a grocery delivery provider in Metro Manila. We're an offshoot business of Flower Store PH. With no restrictions on ECQ, we had to find a way to keep the business running. We included grocery items sa gift baskets namin sa Flower Store. They were a huge hit. That's why we decided to grow the business and open Minimart. Now, Minimart PH delivers grocery bags like this one to hundreds of homes in Metro Manila. When we started, we had to get our supplies personally. However, after a few days of research, nakahanap din kami ng reliable suppliers who made procurement of products easier for us kahit na ECQ. As I mentioned, we already had an existing online business. In just around 2 weeks, nabuo namin ang Minimart site, which really helped our customers with shopping and kami naman with operations. Speaking of operations, our delivery partner, LALAMOVE, really made reaching our customers fast and possible. Gamit namin ang 4-wheel vehicles nila, which made delivering to customers fast and easy. One of the things we love about them is their multi-stop feature. With it, we can efficiently deliver up to 20 customers in just one book. Na-experience na nga namin mag-set ng 15 drops sa isang booking lang. Through this, Minimart's able to save up to 1/3 of our logistics costs. Kaya sulit talaga ang kada delivery. I guess that's it. The story of Minimart's success is really because our team seized the opportunity when we saw it. I hope Minimart's story will inspire you guys on your business. Thank you so much, and good luck on your journey to deliver possibilities to your biz.
All right. So, what's LALAMOVE? I hope that most of the people that's watching this today is somewhat familiar with what we are. But if not, LALAMOVE is an on-demand logistics company. So what we do is we connect customers to hundreds of thousands of partner drivers to be able to serve motorcycle, MPV, or light truck deliveries, whether it's for on-demand or whether it's for scheduled deliveries. People like to throw around the word disrupting, but to a certain extent it's true, we do disrupt the traditional logistics. But for me personally, I like to think of it as we are able to enhance and augment the logistics space even further with innovations like instant order matching, real-time GPS tracking, 24/7 services, and of course a driver rating system. This allows us to fulfill our customers' delivery needs by leveraging on the shared economy, right? Because of LALAMOVE's state-of-the-art technology and of course our best-in-class customer service, deliveries are made faster, easier, more reliable, and of course more affordable. Traditional logistics has been here forever. Every company, every person needs something delivered, most especially now, right? Traditional logistics is good. It's affordable. There's a very wide area of coverage, especially in a country like the Philippines, which is an archipelago. It's challenging and it is absolutely needed, right? And traditional logistics has been tried and tested to be reliable. It offers, there are multiple options for us to avail of, right? Logistics can be done in-house, right? You can do it yourself. However, there is high investment, high human resource capital, and of course, if logistics is not the core of your business, it dilutes your company's focus. There's also an option to outsource your logistics, right? There are some pros and some cons. Some cons being a long turnaround time, limited scalability because you have to work with the fleet that they have existing. And of course, there is varied pricing depending on the type of parcel, the type of delivery. Is this something that you want to do nationwide? Is this something that you want to do next day? Or are you willing to wait for 7 days? This is how a traditional 3PL model looks like. But I think and we think that deliveries could definitely be done better. And we will do this, and we are doing this through technology. Technology allows businesses, allows consumers to widen their reach, right? Consumers, with the rise of apps, delivery apps to be specific, are appealing to people first because of better pricing, right? Because of choices in the marketplace and its easy accessibility. You whip out your phone, you can get anything delivered instantly. Mobile internet has been our driving force to this type of growth, right? We're available on mobile or on your tablet. There's real-time tracking. You can get anything delivered within an hour. There's transparency of pricing, right? You can, for businesses that have multiple stops, whether it's from their warehouse to multiple branches, whether it's from their branch to their end consumers, this is something that can be optimized through the services that we have, right? For companies that are now building up their e-commerce platforms, there's actually an available product under LALAMOVE for API integration to make that online purchase experience a lot more seamless, from choosing your product all the way to checking out, all the way to getting it delivered. So LALAMOVE is here to use shared vehicles, again, the sharing economy, with our professional drivers to offer businesses a scalable, cost-effective, and reliable on-demand delivery solution. We exist to make deliveries fast and simple. Right? We build partnerships in order to accelerate scale. We have partnerships related to partner drivers, as we not only give them a source of income, but we also want to create this ecosystem where it's not just about their daily earnings, but they also have benefits like fuel discounts, mobile phone discounts, housing, healthcare, etc., in order to empower and uplift their lives. We support and partner up with businesses to help them with all their logistical needs, whether it's from first mile, mid mile, all the way to last mile. Overall, LALAMOVE is here to empower local communities because what we want to do is move forward and scale up how we do logistics. Right? LALAMOVE is in 13 countries and over 200 cities. We have varying service types like motorcycles, SUVs, vans, L300s, light trucks, what have you. Whether your delivery is small or large, in Manila and in Cebu, this is something that we can help you out with. We create opportunity from technology. Our drivers need a source of earnings. Our customers and your customers need delivery services. We add value to our clients. This is a sample of an MSME that has grown by focusing on their core business and passing on the pain point of dealing with deliveries to a company like LALAMOVE, who is an expert on deliveries. Right. Let me end this with one last video of a larger company that has been helped by LALAMOVE services during this period.
Stop, Pinoy entrepreneurs. Frankie and Riga here of HMR Philippines. And together with LALAMOVE, we'll show you how going digital has helped us face the new normal heads on. Come learn how you can make things possible for your business too. HMR Philippines has been around for more than 30 years with over 20 retail branches. And we are the market leader in the consumer surplus industry. We heavily rely on our traditional retail stores. Kaya naging malaking operational challenge sa amin ang ECQ. But as industry leader, we stepped up to the challenge and quickly pivoted to digital. Habang binibuild namin yung HMR.ph, available na kami sa iba-ibang e-commerce platforms tulad ng Viber at Facebook. Since many are staying home, the demand for reliable and affordable home products grew. Luckily, by that time, we officially launched HMR.ph. Nakahanap kami ng delivery partner who helped us grow our logistics capacity to meet the demand. And that partner was LALAMOVE. Through their versatile delivery service, ranging from motorcycles to four-wheel vehicles, naging mas madali ang logistics process namin. If our customer needs a new couch, we could deliver it with a light truck. Kung kailangan naman nila ng oven toaster, motorcycle delivery is one tap away. Since diving into e-commerce, our online sales have tripled, which shows na marami na talagang Pinoy ang nag-online shopping. And it is a promise of HMR Philippines to deliver the same great shopping experience to our customers wherever they may be. And with LALAMOVE as our delivery partner, we're sure that will definitely happen as we deliver comfort to more Filipino homes. Sana na-inspire kayo sa kwento namin. And I hope the story of HMR Philippines helps you transform and improve your business so that you can deliver more possibilities to your business.
Thank you very much, DANNAH.
All right, sorry, to close off real quick, right? For LALAMOVE, we are available on mobile, on desktop, or via API integration. As I've mentioned earlier, we're here to exist to make deliveries fast and simple. So if anyone has any questions as to how LALAMOVE functions, of course, there's the Q&A section there. But at the same time, if you are interested in establishing a corporate account, you can go ahead and head over to lalamove.com, click on how to be a corporate account and sign up there. And we will definitely reach out to you as soon as we can so that we can deliver possibilities to your business. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, DANNAH. We wouldn't have survived this pandemic without LALAMOVE, me personally, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers also. And of course, credits to you and to the other service delivery and on-demand apps and the help that you guys extended our brick and mortar businesses to keep their functions and their revenues and their businesses afloat. Thank you, DANNAH.
Right.
You know what, Miss Kay, we are receiving a lot of questions about
Yes.
LALAMOVE's discussion. So later on, we will be giving that out and that
Yeah.
has to be addressed. But for now, we are also joined by the acting lead business development manager and enterprise solutions provider at MyKuya, a tech company driven to provide jobs for the underemployed population of the Philippines. Using his knack to grow companies, he brings bespoke logistical and manpower solutions to various industries such as retail and food while maintaining the heart and passion for the Filipino people. He is Mr. Jose Luis Louis De Leon. Hi, sir. Good afternoon.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. Thanks for a great introduction. I appreciate the applause every time someone comes on board. Congratulations to everyone who's speaking before me. To LALAMOVE also, I think it's a very great talk. I could very well relate to what they're doing, and I look up to what they're doing with their SMEs. Allow me to share my screen to sort of show a little bit what we're doing. Over here, there you go. So let's just take that. There you go. Okay, great. So hello, everybody. I know it's also an honor to be here. It's an honor to be sort of the last speaker, at least so I'm told. So I decided to make my presentation a little bit different. I understand conferences like these can be quite arduous, even though if we're doing it in the comfort of our homes or in our offices. It is a lot of information to take in. So today, I just want everyone to remember the word different, because that's what the next 7 minutes will be about. And a little brief introduction about me is I started an advertising career in 2009 to 2019. So it's very recent that I pivoted actually into logistics and business solutions. And really, the reason why I was able to easily transition to that, because the process or what I'm doing now is no different from what I've been doing for the past 10 years. I've been telling businesses to go online, to go digital for the longest time. And for you franchisees, you understand the value of what it needs or what the value of being online means. And you guys understand that, especially now, if you're not online, you're going to die. So for my clients right now, if I tell them to do the same thing, but also to invest in a logistics solution, it's not enough anymore to have a Facebook. It's not enough anymore to just have an e-commerce platform. But it's also important to have an investment and make sure that your last mile solutions to your customers are on point. And that's specifically what I've been doing with all of our clients at MyKuya here. MyKuya is more known for the customer app, but in my department, what we do is we take one-to-one meetings with their clients and design specific bespoke solutions that are truly unique to their business model. So what do I mean by truly unique? Well, this is exactly what the talk is going to be about. It's about getting creative, and it's about getting creative with logistics. Everything that you're about to see moving forward is brainchild between me and whoever client that I'll be talking about moving forward. And I just sort of highlighted 2 instances where I think you guys might be interested to find out how people have been optimizing the use of our kuyas and ates on the road. So for people who love fashion here, one of my favorite clients is Scoop Community. They are a local design agency or local design company. They're based in, they're just along Guadalupe and Makati, and they're a small shop of 5 people. So we cater to a lot of these people who have just started businesses, especially during COVID, where they can easily create a website, but they cannot easily deliver to their customers, especially with the restrictions. So in their website, it's simple. You order through a Shopify account, you check out, and then you get deliveries. What currently is happening with their office is when a delivery comes to them, I'm sure some of you guys are familiar, you tally up the orders, and the social media person or the marketing coordinator is the one that lines up all the orders, goes to LBC, and then coordinates all those orders. So that marketing officer has around 20 orders every day. Every day after she finishes her marketing duties, around 3 o'clock before LBC closes, she has to coordinate 20 orders with LBC or 20 orders with whoever courier and update these customers for her. Now, for a larger corporation, there's a lot of systems in place, but for startups or people who are thriving, this small nuance takes up a lot of time, and it really disrupts the peace of mind that we're trying so hard to keep during this lockdown. So What I told them is they could get I provided them a single rider. That rider, they book for 8 hours a day and no restrictions. Basically, he's their quote unquote staff for the day. And the little thing about, of course, when you're buying clothes is that you get to pick the size. So when I gave them Ate Marlin, this is Ate Marlin over here. She's the rider for the day. I dedicated Ate Marlin to her that company every Monday through Friday for the past 4 months. She has been reporting every day. And the reason why I chose Ate Marlin is because one, she has experience working in retail. Two, she's a trusted rider in their consumer app, meaning she's able to hold a large amount of valuable items and a lump sum of cash, and is recorded to always be honest with it, with the deliveries. And that's possible to track because we have the tech here at the office to monitor the performance of every single rider. So when I work with my clients, I only give them the best tried and tested Ates and Kuya. So if you notice, Ate Marlin is not wearing a MyKuya uniform because it's the brilliant idea of my client to say, if Ate Marlin will be reporting with me every day, can I give her a uniform instead? And I said, sure, why not? So she's wearing a 2,000 peso t-shirt designed by Scoop to represent the fleet of that company. Every day, she reports at 8 a.m. in the morning. She delivers 20 items, cash and delivery, and she goes back to liquidate all the orders. So the nifty thing that I wanted to point out here was because it was a lot of the client's initiative to think of how he could optimize his time with Ate Marlin. And because they are a clothing company, a lot of people are aware that sizes are quite different. So what my client insisted was that every time Ate Marlin would to go out and issue a delivery, she would bring 3 blank t-shirts of different sizes. So if I were to order in Scoop, Ate Marlin would come to my house, but I would not need to declare a size. I just need to buy a design. Once Ate Marlin comes over to my house, I can try on the 3 different sizes in my house and then decide then and there which size I'm going to get, pay Ate Marlin, and then Ate Marlin will collect the money, give me the t-shirt, and go to the next order. So to some degree, my client was able to turn my logistical solution into a mobile brick and mortar in a mere 5-minute conversation between my rider and their customer. So it was very interesting to see, and it's a model I've been slowly replicating with other of my clients in retail. They've been using our riders to dress them up, to brand them, to provide samples, because our model only allows our clients to book the time of these kuyas. These are temporary staff, and that means from an HR perspective, it's easier to mobilize manpower without having to come up with long-term contracts, without having to think of career plans or benefits, because that's provided by us. We are a mission-driven company, and the only prerogative of MyKuya is to make sure people like Ate Marlin get paid for the hours they give to the clients I provide solutions for. Now, coming into the Burr months, a lot of clients are going to me for these specific bespoke solutions, and they've one of the weirdest requests was to have us organize an online party for them. So I cannot share who they are because their party is still ongoing, but right now, I do want to share with you a case study on how we replicated this model in our office on our anniversary 3 weeks ago. So in this photo here is one of my office mates, Harley, is sitting right in front of me. And then over here is our CEO, Dennis Bunye. And over here is my teammate, Enzo Pinga. And then here is my boss, Surin Samuel. And all of them are on a Zoom conversation with the 20 staff outside Metro Manila, because we are, like everyone else, is working on a skeletal force. So in this Zoom chat, we organized the same Zoom background to make everyone feel like they're in the same room, but more so to enhance the feeling of togetherness. We organized around 20 riders to deliver the same lunch to employees living in Laguna, living in different parts of Quezon City, and we synchronized those deliveries to arrive at 12 p.m. So while everyone was apart, digitally, we were all together in that room eating the same meal. Not only that, if you can see over here, there were some people in their homes. And as I said, I was actually hosting the event. And as we came in with the deliveries, the MyKuyas came in and provided lunch for the people in the office, and people's doorbells started ringing and people's phones started ringing because people at home were getting the deliveries as well. So the ramifications of having a staff on demand, someone on demand, can sort of change the way you do business for your model. It's something we pride in with our flexibility. We don't like having a lot of drop-down menus. We don't like having a lot of rules and set, because we understand every business is a different model, and every model requires a different bespoke solution. So I guess the key to success here is actually being open and collaborative. As I mentioned, we're talking about different times nowadays. And the key on how I was able to create solutions like this was because clients were able to trust MyKuyas. Clients were able to be creative with their solutions. And we were being able to be open to how we were doing in serving serving everyone. People keep saying new normal, but not really meaning it. People keep saying that there's a requirement to pivot, but really there's just very few people who I believe who has that open-mindedness to really collaborate new solutions with us. Because I would say, as I was saying, times are different. Business is different. You guys have all experienced it. There are different ways that we coordinate with different customers nowadays, and that requires our solutions to be entirely different as well. Right now, I believe this is not the new normal. I believe at MyKuya, the entire world is pivoting. And when we get over COVID, the lessons we learn with our clients and the lessons we learn with our co-franchisees will be the way we will do business tomorrow. And I think moving forward in a bigger spectrum of things, if we are all to get through this together as a country and as a world, we all need to band together into that collaborative and open-minded spirit. I'm really inspired by LALAMOVE's video because I feel like they're headed in the same direction of understanding what it means to do business in COVID. In the same vein, the more we get to understand each other, the more clients get to understand the livelihood of MyKuyas. How important it is for them to get a job, how important it is for them to have lunch, to get paid, to pay for their rent. And they can do that because they're able to deliver items, they're able to serve you guys, and they're able to provide solutions without getting a big investment from my clients altogether. It's a very win-win solution. And this has been the pseudo advocacy we've been doing for the past 6 months during COVID. Business has been entirely different. To be honest, this product is very new. It's only 2 months old. 3 months ago, we've been having a different product altogether. And it's just all learnings that we've been doing with a different clientele altogether. If you want to know more and if you want to get in touch with me, just send me an email with the subject title, Pogi si Louie. I'll be sure to open it and I'll talk to you about how your business is. And then we can come up with a bespoke solution just entirely for you. I hope this inspires you guys to get creative. I hope this inspires you guys to look at the situation and not get too negative about how difficult it is. Yes, it is difficult, but it also means it's an opportunity for you guys to be different. It's an opportunity for you guys to try something. I'm here to remind you that I'm one of those people who can try something new with you. And we are a very young company. We're very nimble and we're very open to serving you guys in the future. Thank you so much for the organizers for having me. And I hope you guys enjoy. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, MyKuya Louie, for your very enticing presentation. But you guys are also the real frontliners, if I may just say that. And we salute you not only for making businesses stay alive, but more importantly, for giving jobs to many. And let's discuss more of the challenges and trends later during our Q&A.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we are about to open our floor for questions. And we have a few here. I think the first one is for ASEC KRISTINE. Is she still on? Yeah? Okay.
ASEC, are you here? Okay. Hello, ASEC. We have a question for you. Please enlighten us how the Philippine Food Security Framework and Food Systems Policy ships can adapt to this pandemic and how establishing a program for farmers on how to put together various producer groups can be beneficial to all.
Well, maybe to begin with, I think at the start of the pandemic, which was in March, one of the things that we had to look into was the accessibility of food. Yep. There were lockdowns everywhere. So that was a problem here in Metro Manila. Now, where the produce comes from, bringing them here was another challenge. So shifting from focusing on production to focusing on accessibility was something that we had to do quickly to make sure that people will not go hungry here in NCR and our produce will not get rotten where they were planted. With that, we also had to engage different government agencies. We had to make sure that DILG and DA were on the same page because every checkpoint that your truck passes through has to understand that this is fresh produce or this is fish, you cannot make them stay there for 8 hours and think that you can still sell it here in Metro Manila. So those were the things. Now DTI also came into the picture because we realized that while we were bringing in fresh produce, since people had limited movements, they also needed things like detergents and other products that's actually under DTI. So from fresh produce to other basic commodities, we had to bring that all together. Then the next was the challenge of how many trucks are there. People thought that it's just a matter of bringing the cabbage all the way to Manila and that solved the problem. The thing was, our farmers will not put their cabbage in someone's truck if they're not going to be paid. I mean, even I will not do that probably. So that truck should be the buyer themselves. And how will we entice a buyer to do that is to make sure that there is a market here in Metro Manila. So we had to make sure that there was another solution to it, which was Ikadiwa. We started Ikadiwa, wherein going digital, we partnered. I think I saw LALAMOVE. They are our partners. What we do is there are people who like to stay in the comforts of their homes, and that's very acceptable. And it's not about only safety, but eventually I think it's convenience. So with that, the producers also were able to find a bigger market. They don't need a retail store anymore. The producers themselves can just have their produce in their backyard, and through digital interventions, they can sell it to somebody who is willing to pay. I think that's also a partnership that's why even the MyKuya was very interesting as far as I'm concerned. I think there are a lot of points of collaboration. So DA is not only into production, but accessibility. And this is, I think, where logistics comes in. And this is also where sustainability is an end product. Because if our producers find their way to the market, then they will keep producing. This will be lucrative. And people also who lost their job will find a role in the whole value chain as far as logistics is concerned. And that makes agriculture sustainable. Did I answer the question?
Yes, you did, ASEC. Actually, there's a lot of collaboration, and I think going digital is really the way to go, because we now connect all the farmers in Benguet or in Abra and all the people here in NCR who's craving for the freshest produce. So you're getting there, and thank you for sharing your programs with us.
Actually, if I may share, the Ikadiwa strengthens the link not just from the farmers going to the sellers, but to the end users directly. Yep. Eliminating the middleman, meaning the produce can be cheaper for the end users, and the profit can be bigger for the farmers.
We've been waiting for this day to happen, and it's finally happening.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. So the second question is for Mr. David SHEEKEY. Sir David? Sir, can you tell us more about retail decision-making and merchandise decision-making process?
Oh, just generally, yes. It's a very big project. So what we tend to cover is, I guess, everything from design. So we have tools for the design team, and they're very much into sort of the CAD drawings and working out what raw material is going to making goods, and they're very creative, right? So they're not easy people to add to a planning environment. So one of the important things is to not leave them isolated on their own, because they tend to make too many samples, make too many products, and they think of an endless aisle, right? They just want to fulfill every niche. So we connect them to the world of planning. So we start off with a sort of a financial plan from a product point of view. We call it a merchandise financial plan. And that distills down to each category of merchandise, dresses, jackets, trousers, or whatever the sort of the type of product is. And it gives a pattern from history and a plan for the future. And really, we distill that down into an option count for the large, medium stores, the small stores. Once we got that action camp, that's when we connect it to the design team. So we connect it upstream. They're working with the manufacturers to create the products, but now they have a plan of how many products of each type to make, so they're not overproducing. Really, that means that we're connecting sort of the creatives to the planners. And then I think the product area we talked about after that is to connect the planning world, when they're coming up with the buy quantity and working with the creatives, and connect them to the supply chain, which is the delivery and the allocation program that we talked about earlier. So that's why we see it as lots of different people working together with a lot of energy, but a lot of different and very they're on different floors in the building, doing different things with different timescales. So we try really hard to connect them all together. So we see it as an end-to-end really business process problem, and try to deal with it that way, rather than looking at what do you want, Mr. Designer, what do you want, Mr. Buyer, what do you want, Mr. Allocator, what do you want, Mr. Operations Guy. By thinking broader than that, I think that's when we start to solve the problems, and that's why we call it merchandise decision making. I mean, that answers the question in a few seconds.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Sir David. Now we have a few more questions for our other speakers.
Okay, I'll ask this for DANNAH because I think the other question she already answered during the presentation. DANNAH, this is from Adi Binoya. She's asking, with the constant rise of delivery services, so we are seeing a lot of new names now in the market. How do new and old delivery firms or on-demand apps keep up with the competition? What do you do to keep up?
Okay. Our mission has always been centered the empowerment of the communities that we serve. In this case, these are the MSMEs and the partner drivers, right? This focus has allowed us to grow and scale and continue to provide relevant solutions in order to address their needs. To be quite honest with you, for me, it's never been about the competition. It's always been about giving what the community needs and continuing to provide relevant services, because that is what will determine the success of the platform, the service, the product that you provide. With this, of course, coupled with the fantastic technology that LALAMOVE has, this is something that has allowed us to continue to be at the top of our game over the past. We've almost been in the Philippines for 4 years, and we are very, very happy to have continuously served millions of Filipinos and about 100,000 partner drivers to date.
Very good. It's never about the competition. That's the perfect answer. Just to follow through on that, this is, I think, technical to your business, but someone's asking if a small enterprise business can avail of your multi-stop delivery.
Yes, anyone can avail of LALAMOVE multi-stop deliveries, LALAMOVE, motorcycles, MPVs, vans, what have you. It's all available in the app. We also have a web-friendly version of the app, so that if you have an Excel file with multiple stops, all you have to do is upload it there. Multi-stop services can go up to 20 addresses. That will definitely help ease of booking for you, and of course the staff that you have in your company as well. So the web app is web.lalamove.com. And in addition to that, if you have a corporate account under LALAMOVE, you can enjoy discounts in the form of rebates, your own account manager, exclusive CS services, as well as access to products that are only for corporate accounts.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, for Mr. Luis De Leon, MyKuya, can you talk more about how you can or how you came up with studies to solve logistical problems? I'm sure this is not a hit and miss or a trial. Let's try it first and then let's execute the plan. So what is your strategy?
Okay, that's a very good question. Every time we have a meeting with someone or every time I have a client, it's always backed with a special logistics and special supply team. So meaning the logistical team is someone I spearhead. So we always make sure what the business model is, where the business model has gaps. And that's where I come in and supply them with what types of kuyas and partners they would need. Sometimes it's actually not delivery partners. Sometimes they would need believe it or not, air condition repairmen. They would need pahinantes. They would need cashier, people to run the cashiers. It's all sorts of things and other staffing solutions that I find in their business model that I feel can help them get through the next few months. Then I head over to our supply department and I make sure that these people are pre-selected and make sure that these people have experience in working in similar industries. So if it's an overlying strategy, we like to always say that our solutions are bespoke to our clients. It's always as if we are providing, or as if we are a logistics agency that's being commissioned to consult with our clients. So similarly, we also have a corporate account that sort of acts as that direct access to make sure every single solution provided is tracked on the platform as well. So ibig sabihin, if when I execute something with a specific client, there'll be attached technology to sort of monitor where the kiosks are, to monitor where it's going, just to make them feel that as if it's, just so that people can feel that this is not just, or rather this is to make people feel that we have adjusted to COVID. There are managers who are at home. There are managers who can't go out. So whenever we execute solutions for them, for their warehouses, for their stores, it's all trackable through their website or app altogether.
Just a follow up to your discussion, can you also service different stores in different locations, provided that you are requiring 400cc motorcycles to traverse in highways?
Okay, that's a very good question. Part of that question is actually why we established the Enterprise Solutions team. A customer's request is quite difficult and different from, a customer's request can be extremely different from an enterprise request. So when we have a special request like that, it's something that we can accommodate on a case-to-case basis. MyKuya is equipped with an entire database and network of manpower around the country. Over the past 6 months, due to the lockdown, we have decided to not activate all of our partners and only activate them as per need, just to make sure that there are people are staying home, people are being safe. Once we get the request for a special requirement, like for example, a 6-wheeler truck, a specialized motorcycle, we then put out the request and we wake up the specific partner who would need to officiate that concern. I guess the key to success there would be lead time and letting us know on when the date is, and then we can sort of come up with a timeline. From there, it becomes a sort of project basis engagement with my client altogether.
Okay, thank you, Sir Luis. We have more, Ms. Kay.
Okay, this question goes on to our 3 panelists, maybe David, Louis, and Dannah. With the massive amount of data that you collect daily, especially to our app delivery services and on-demand apps, how do you take care or protect the customer data? Anyone can answer first. Could be David or Louis or Dannah.
I can start. Okay.
Okay. Yes.
LALAMOVE is a global company that is present in multiple countries and multiple cities. We are very much adherent to any way and form of data privacy law in whichever country. So that's the first, right? Our business is predominantly centered on the aggregation or the connection of users and drivers. Therefore, you're correct. There is so much data inflow, but we do take a lot of measures to ensure that we protect the privacy of the clients that we have. Our partner drivers are trained for this as well. All users that sign up in the LALAMOVE app are shown its privacy clauses as well as its terms and conditions to ensure that this is something that is continuously upheld. Of course, for digital companies, if we look back, say 15 years ago, a lot of people didn't really trust going digital simply because they weren't sure what people were going to do about their data, right? And it was because of companies that have paved the way and reassured people that going digital is safe. It is not just accessible, it's safe, and all the transactions there are contained just there, even if the transaction is online to offline. This is something that has continued to reassure the public and therefore has prepped the Philippines to going digital.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would just add to that.
Okay.
We are interested in the aggregation. We're interested in the node, the end point of the supply chain, which is where the supplier of goods and services to the customer wants to put the offer to the customer, and that's often the store. So we're not actually interested in individual customer data. Aggregation is definitely important, but what we're also trying to do is look for tribes, right, in people's behaviors locally. So we're interested in the collection of people and trying to find information from them. There's much more information available, but it's sort of in Europe, we have sort of GDPR, which is very strong data protection laws, and we kind of we have that appropriate sort of methodology throughout our software. So it's not the individuals we're interested in as our supply chain concept. It's really finding those collections. And it's important to get the price right, to get the product right for the customer. So it's actually using their data in a positive way, and there's no nefarious things going on with the customer data for sure.
Louis?
Well, as a tech company, first and foremost, it's one of the first things actually our founders made sure it's in place. The offices in Manila are really our operations and sales offices. So everything else in Singapore and Iran is really our tech side. So a high priority is placed in making sure that our tech is protected both from online attacks and also from people trying to get this data for their own use as well. On a personal level, a lot of brands also a lot of their customers are my customers as well. So for one thing, we have a lot of strict placements here at the office to make sure none of that is even leaving the premises of our offices also. Data from our Kuyas, data from our customers are even segregated from the fact that Kuyas and customers are not even allowed to share data. It's quite interesting to point out as well that while we are very strict about customer data and partner data, we get a lot of requests of customers and partners asking for each other's numbers to coordinate better. Those things are seen on a chat. So every single message that's qualitative is monitored by a specific team 24/7, and all of those messages are always audited. So there's two types of data that we collect, which is qualitative and quantitative, and both of which are always monitored on a day-to-day basis. So it's always guaranteed. That's the number one priority as a company to secure all data for us.
Thank you. Just a final follow-up, Tina, if I may. In relation to the data privacy, since most companies are getting better at handling data, customer data, and all of that, do you think the Filipino people are now more comfortable in going online, putting in their credit card details, and has for example, the e-wallet for either MyKuya or LALAMOVE, has it increased significantly now?
I think it's a matter of one, the increase in trust for digital platforms, and another that has propelled this, digital transformation. People keep saying COVID did the digital transformation. And it did as well for online payments. We have seen a significant lift in credit transactions as the lockdown, the ECQ was implemented in the Philippines. And this is still continuing to grow. The Philippines is a very, very COD-driven country, right? When LALAMOVE first started, the concept of credit was very much contained only to our corporate accounts. Much of our non-corporate accounts still opted to pay in cash, even though the availability of credit card payments was already there. But again, because of the increase in trust and at the same time, the inherent need for, of course, prioritizing safety, no contact deliveries, minimizing the movement of cash, this is something that has also grown.
Thank you, DANNAH.
All right.
Also with that answer, though, while a lot of people have sort of adapted to online purchases, they're used to waiting for their products to come over. There is still a lot of people, especially in Metro Manila, who don't have access to credit cards, who don't have access to these things. And there are a lot of companies that are popping up like PayMaya that are allowing the service to come aboard. Actually, here at MyKuya, we're trying to work backwards, and we're trying to figure out ways to provide more cash on delivery, provide more cash acceptable payments. because everyone started in tech and everyone started with online transactions. I do believe as well that that sort of behavior is allowing us to do more business better with enterprise clients also. But yeah, I think that's just all I had to add for that.
Thank you.
I think we're getting. Go ahead, Sir David.
On a global level, we've seen that we have a lot of till data from around the world, and we noticed two things. One is there's a lot more omni-channel data coming through. People start the shopping journey from their homes rather than from the mall. And a lot of buy online, pick up in store, those kind of journeys. The other thing is the average basket size has picked up in fashion. And what we're assuming from that is people are planning less journeys, but more planned journeys to the shops. So they're being more thoughtful about buying, which I thought was really super interesting. And I'm assuming that's the same thing going on in the Philippines as well. It's a global trend. And we think it's here to stay too.
All right, thank you, Sir David. I think we are getting more questions from our attendees, but we have limited time. But nevertheless, you saw the contact details of our experts early on during their discussion. So I think you can send them their questions for it to be addressed. But we are almost at the end of our session.